from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, March 6th. Okay, so we have the moon in Gemini energy here all day, and we're going to be building towards the first quarter moon popping off in this Gemini energy. That takes place at 11:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, of course, if you have your new moon in Pisces guide available to you, you're going to want to get that out. Flip to this particular chapter because this is an action point. This is a choice point. This is a decision point based off of some of the things that, again, we were very much focused on under that new moon in Pisces. The first quarter moon is a pivot point, especially where it's taking place in Gemini energy. We're definitely leaning in, leaning towards one choice point, one path, one direction, one idea over the other. So the first quarter moon is definitely going to have us popping off in our headspace and really put us in a situation to maybe not fully commit to a decision, to a path, to a direction, to an idea, but we're definitely gaining momentum. We're putting a lot more weight into one path, one decision, one choice point over the other. Now, there are 10 different aspects popping off here today. All 10 involve the moon. This is our second moon day of the week here. So again, a day of emotional refinement and realignment. And with the moon in Gemini energy, of course, we are very curious. We are open-minded. We are a lot more extroverted, a little bit more social than usual. A lot of that is because we have to kind of bounce our ideas off of the external realm in order to get some feedback. We also need the external stimulation in order to pop off light bulb moments, epiphanies, if you will, in our mind space. So there is definitely a lot of rapid processing going on in our headspace. If you need to go ahead, go back, take a listen to the Ascension forecast for this week. I would definitely recommend you do that in order to understand where these energies are manifesting in the physical body. And of course, if you want to jump over to my Patreon, we are now doing daily Ascension symptom rundowns. So if you are someone who is highly sensitive, someone who is definitely in alignment with these particular energies and need a little bit more of a reassurance, a validation, a confirmation of what it is that you're going through, I would highly recommend that you join us over on my Patreon, stay in alignment with those energies, understand how they're manifesting in the physical body, and figure out what you can do about it. So again, there's going to be a lot of energy really focused in the head space and in the heart space here today. Again, when we're building towards a particular lunar aspect, such as the first quarter moon, the energy is definitely palpable. So with all of that being said, the moon in Gemini energy going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction with Venus retrograde in Aries energy. This is air and fire. This is definitely heart related. A lot of heart activations taking place here this week. Again, check your Ascension forecast to understand how that manifests. This is us going through a very deep, dark period within our heart space. We recognize the pivot that is taking place. We recognize the new version of self, the new wants, needs, and desires that this new version of self has. And because of that, we're recognizing what it is that we're no longer in alignment with. And so emotionally speaking, again, with the moon in Gemini, there's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of thinking involved about different options, different opportunities, what we could do to make further progress towards what it is that we want, need, and desire, and what it is that we need to do to kind of create distance, space, if you will, between us and some of the factors, the people, places, and things that, again, we're no longer resonating with, that we've outgrown, that we no longer want to pour our time, energy, and attention into. And therefore, this is going to be an aha moment between our heart and our head, understanding what we want, need, and desire, and understanding what we need to do to actually get it. The moon in Gemini then going to make a very positive interaction with Neptune in his rulership in this Pisces energy. Again, this is mutability. We have a mutable air sign, Gemini. We have a mutable water sign, Pisces. Mutability means that there's going to be a change. There's going to be an adjustment. Things are kind of up in the air and we are rapidly making some progress. Now, Neptune, of course, brings in dreams, brings in imagination, creativity, brings in intuition. And there's definitely a refresher going on in our soul space, in our higher self, if you will. We are definitely conjuring up a goal, vision, and dream for our future selves. And that moon in Gemini, rapidly processing heart and head in order to get in alignment so that we can actually take action, make moves to bring this goal, dream, vision to life. The moon is then going to come up to, bump into, team up with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's been in this Gemini energy since about May of 2024. We have a lot of growth taking place, especially with unlearning and then relearning. Again, many of us were taught absolute false truths. And at this particular juncture of where it is that we're at in humanity's evolution, there is more unlearning than there is learning. And of course, we have to kind of break down that false belief system, those lies, that misinformation, and really get in alignment with our heart space, with our higher self, in order for us to know what is the truth and what is the truth for us. So a conjunction is just as much of an ending as it is a beginning. And the ending part here is a lot of confusion, a lot of flip-floppiness. Think of Gemini energy, again, as weighing the pros and cons. All of our thoughts and ideas and options and opportunities. Of course, Jupiter wants us to grow and expand on information, wisdom, knowledge that we already have kind of bouncing around within us. Again, we have to integrate it. We have to put it into practice. We have to do something with it. The beginning that is taking place with this particular conjunction is emotionally and mentally, we are gearing ourselves up to kind of throw ourselves into a new learning chapter, into a new path, into a new direction that, of course, there is some sort of foundation, structure, basis already alive and well within us, whether that's interest or whether it's already certain levels of education, whatever the case may be. We are revisiting old topics and themes that did have us very interested at one particular juncture, especially where information and knowledge is concerned. And so we're kind of revamping, if you will, breathing new life into old ideas. And we are mentally and emotionally preparing ourselves to dive in to a new adventure, a new quest, a new path, a new direction that, of course, is going to help us grow and evolve. 11:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon in Gemini gets into the boxing ring, squares off with the sun in Pisces, and this is what gives us our first quarter moon. We are dealing with mutable energies, so again, there's a rapid processing, rapid change, rapid progress of events taking place in our inner realm. There's always going to be an aha moment, an epiphany, a light bulb moment when the sun and the moon are coming together. And of course, we're blending our intellect, Gemini energy, with our intuition, Pisces energy. And from that, again, a square doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to highlight for us where it is that we're going through growing pains. And so intellectually speaking, we might be on one particular page with our thoughts, with our ideas, but emotionally, intuitively speaking, we're on a different chapter. So this is going to highlight for us where it is that we have to bridge the gap between what it is that we are being called to do, called to pursue in our emotions, in our higher self, in our intuition, and our soul space, and logically, practically kind of apply a system, a structure, a method, if you will, on how it is that we're going to actually bring some of those goals, visions, and dreams to life. The moon in Gemini then goes ahead, makes a beautiful interaction with Mercury. Mercury rules over this Gemini energy, but Mercury is in Aries energy. So again, we have fire and air. So there's going to be a spark. There's going to be a combustion. There's going to be a light bulb moment. Now our heart space, the moon, and our head space, Mercury, they're working together. They're trying to get on the same page. This Aries energy that Mercury is in wants to initiate, take action, make moves on some of the big ideas in which we're having. The moon in Gemini, emotionally speaking, needs to get grounded, needs to be okay, coming to a certain term of acceptance on where it is that we're at and decide where it is that we want to go from here. Again, first quarter moon energy, action, decision, and choice point. The moon in Gemini then going to make a beautiful interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger. Mars, still very much in Cancer energy. We're trying to build ourselves up. We're trying to stabilize in our inner realm of emotion. We're trying to figure out what we have to take action on, what we have to take moves on in order to further the boundaries that we need to be building in order to keep ourselves safe and secure, especially as we go through this elimination process, this releasing process. And again, fighting, defending, protecting what it is that means the most to us, what it is that we've already built and created that we want to preserve before we go ahead, start taking action, making moves on new things that, of course, we won't really get a full opportunity to do until about end of April, early May. Nonetheless, the moon and Mars, they're working together, and they're working together to build ourselves up in our inner realm, building, cultivating this new passion, motivation, determination, if you will, on a particular idea, on a particular topic and theme. Again, we're trying to hone in, cultivate the energy needed in order to see this particular path through. So this is definitely going to be a boost to our self-esteem, to our self-confidence, to the pep in our step that, again, we have to build in our inner realm before we can put it to practice in our outer realm. But nonetheless, we are, again, pushing ourselves to decide, pushing ourselves into a new path, into a new direction. And we're feeling pretty good, pretty confident about what it is that we're thinking and what it is that we're feeling. Just when we reach that particular contentment, the moon in Gemini is going to make a very uncomfortable aspect with Pluto, the great transformer in Aquarius energy. So yes, Gemini, Aquarius, they're both air signs. This is air on air action, but the worst kind of interaction that you could get, meaning we're going to be cluster effed in our headspace, our heart, our head, not on the same page. Pluto is here to highlight where it is that seeds have been planted in our brains a long time ago, where old narratives, old limiting beliefs are definitely preventing us from seeing things clearly, from making the improvements and the adjustments needed in our lives. And again, Pluto's whole point here is to take us down a little bit of a trip down the darker parts of memory lane in order for us to boss up, to flip the script, to realize where it is that we keep telling ourselves the same old thing, expecting different results, when realistically speaking, we have to flip the script, tell ourselves something different before we're going to see any kind of change in our inner realm and in our outer realm as well. The moon then going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries energy. So first of all, we love fire and air working together because there's going to be a combustion, a spark, a fire, a flame. This is us coming out of that little dark trip down memory lane with Mr. Pluto and realizing where it is that we have the ability to grow, have the ability to heal, have the ability to flip the script in our mental plane, have the ability to flip the script in our emotions. We're restructuring, reframing a lot of the things that, again, has kept us in a victimhood mentality, has kept us weak and vulnerable in the worst kind of ways. And now we're building ourselves up. We're seeing our strengths. We're seeing our ability to grow and heal through some of the darkest parts of our lives. And all of this energy is helping this newest version of self to be anchored in, to lead the charge, and therefore kind of push us into a new chapter where our confidence, our self-esteem is leading the way. Now, just when we're kind of feeling good, when we're gaining clarity, when we're feeling strong, the moon in Gemini is going to get in the boxing ring, square off with Saturn. Saturn is the Lord of karma. He rules over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, and discipline. He is in Pisces energy. So again, the square comes from the fact that, again, we're dealing with mutable energies. Gemini energy is a mutable energy. Pisces energy is a mutable energy. And of course, the square is highlighting where we're going through growing pains. We have Saturn in this Pisces energy trying to wrap up a 30-year chapter, trying to dissolve the old false belief system, the old version of self, the old realm and reality that old version of self has built and created. And so emotionally speaking, in this Gemini energy, we're having new ideas, we're having new emotions, we're having new aha moments all within ourselves, but we're getting a little bit carried away. There's a lot of pressure in our head space and in our heart space at this particular juncture. And so although Mr. Saturn kind of brings a little bit of a reality check, he also kind of anchors us into this present moment. He kind of gives us the opportunity to give our head a shake, to help us get organized between our thoughts and our emotions, between the old versus new, so that we can put into perspective what needs to be done. What needs to be done to wrap up in a chapter, to provide endings and closures to said chapter, so that again, we have the space to start building something new. So the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Gemini energy making a beautiful interaction with Venus retrograde in Aries energy. So we started off the day with a beautiful interaction with Venus. We're going to end the day off with a beautiful interaction with Miss Venus. And of course, this is going to be kind of wrapping up the day's revelations. Again, it is a moon day. There are a lot of pop-offs to help us kind of, address the major pivot points taking place in our emotions and in our headspace. We have a lot of highs really showing us the forest past the trees and what awaits us off on the horizon. We also have a lot of lows that put us in a very reflective state in order for us to be focused on the blockages in our heart space, in our head space, preventing us from moving on and moving forward. Venus being retrograde, of course, means that we're doing a lot of work within ourselves, where self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence is concerned. We are rearranging our worth, our values, our priorities. And of course, with the moon in Gemini, we are rapidly processing who and what needs to stay and needs to go.